Look, let me just make I think towards the end of my story, I tried to bring this up. I think the real question here is November and what's going to happen in November. And you know, what if we have a close election that's contested? What happens then? What happens if the president refuses to leave the White House? And I tried to address some of that, but I think what happened on Monday is interesting because it's a bit of a dry run. And so it allows us to kind of talk about some of this stuff in case it happens again.
You mean a dry run in terms of a kind of stress test of various parts of the kind of institutional integrity of the nation should the president try to do something wildly in breaking with American democratic traditions?
Yes. I talked to a lot of generals last week, and they all said pretty much the same thing, which is like, look, if we have a contested election, probably the Supreme Court will get involved. Once they make the call, the whole machinery of the military will kind of turn towards the legally elected president, and there'll be no dispute. That's pretty convincing, but I think it's not the whole story. I mean, I think the one general that I spoke to said he was really concerned about the following scenario, which is, what if we have a close election, the outcome is in dispute, or it's really, really close, and the president refuses to leave, and he calls up, he calls one of the a governor in a conservative state, and he says, send the National Guard in, like, you know, pick your state,
right.
Send the National Guard to Washington, surround the White House and protect me. I'm not leaving. What happens then? And that's a really ugly scene.
It's a very ugly scene, and it's also sort of what happened here, because a lot of the troops that you saw were essentially contributed National Guardsmen from various states.
Yes, yes, and so I think, you know, when I listen to that scenario, I mean, in a way, the president has the legal authority to do that. He certainly doesn't have the legal authority to stay in office longer than he may. But that scenario struck me as entirely plausible and pretty disturbing.
Yeah, disturbing to say the least. Dexter Filkins, a great reporter, and I'm always happy to be able to read what you are up to. Thank you very much, sir.